The big news in today's episode is that countries are waking up to the reality of stablecoins. Major economies can no longer ignore the fact that the opportunity or the threat that stablecoins pose. At this point, the options are either to proactively adopt this financial innovation or to let your economies get dominated by those countries that do. And that's what actually we are seeing with countries like China, Hong Kong, Japan, South Korea. So let's actually start with China, because they actually are facing one of the biggest financial threats or that they have seen ever, pretty much, like since they have started dominating in the global financial situation. Because despite China being the world's second largest economy, the yuan actually accounted for about 2.88% of the global payments processed through Swift network in June, and the figure actually is dwarfed by what US dollar does, which is about 47.9%. Imagine that's about 3%, and then you have about 47%. You can clearly see which currency actually dominates, right? Uh, and this disparity is actually going to even will get more magnified in the digital asset space, because USD pegged stablecoins represent over 99% of the global stablecoin supply. And for Chinese policymakers, this digital dollarization represents an unacceptable erosion of monetary sovereignty. If you like those difficult words, but that's basically what the reality is, right? So you have to keep in mind that China has banned cryptocurrencies or anything to do with cryptocurrencies. They have banned it for the last 12 years. But now reports are coming in that Chinese officials, Chinese financial agencies are seriously considering a yuan-backed stablecoin, just designed specifically for cross-border transactions. And from what I can see, their goals are basically twofold. One is they want to accelerate the internationalizations of yuan, obviously, because they cannot dominate the SWIFT system. They want a system that they can dominate. And also the second one being to be able to create a viable alternative to the dollar-based settlement rails, or essentially to sort of find a chink in the armor of the US dollar. Obviously, this is not going to be an easy road for China, because before any other countries, US has made very sure that they are super bullish on stablecoins, and they are going to do anything and everything they can to not only adopt the stablecoin situation, but also dictate how and who is going to dominate in the stablecoin world. So what China is doing right now, as they always do, they're using Hong Kong as a sort of this financial sandbox. Hong Kong already has done a lot of stuff on the stablecoin front that we will talk about right after this. But yeah, so they're using.
Before we hold on, before we move on to Hong Kong, I have a question that if China already has the CBDC program, why are they even thinking about stablecoins?
Yeah, that's a good question, because CBDCs do the exact thing that stablecoins do in principle. They are both blockchain based. Obviously, CBDC blockchains are extremely censored and completely permissioned. That means like the government controls end to end everything in the transaction, including like the wallets that hold these CBDCs are completely at the mercy of the government. They can at any point they can freeze, seize, or simply burn any asset that you may hold in your CBDC wallets. But that being said, they are looking into CBDCs and stablecoins as a twofold strategy of CBDC runs their domestic financial infrastructure. So everyone with inside China, they are going to use CBDCs. But like if you are a person who is outside of China, why would you take the risk of letting China control your financial assets, right? So knowing that, they want to create something that looks like stablecoins, that has the right safety features in place, and that isn't completely controlled by the Chinese government. That's pretty much the reason, like they are.
Yeah, that makes sense, because I don't think China is a big fan of decentralization.
They are not. They are not at all. Not only are they not fan of decentralization, they actively hate it. Right? They want to keep as much control of their financial, or pretty much anything that is happening inside their country. Yeah. So they're using Hong Kong to create this sandbox where they want to look into this Yuan stablecoin that they are calling CNH, and they are actually using Shanghai, which is another parallel financial hub in the Chinese market, and they're trying out testing their CBDC program, which is actually quite well prepared already, and are being used. I mean, at least a fair portion of the Chinese financial transactions are getting through the CBDCs as well. I mean, that's what happens when you live in a completely authoritative country, right? You don't even have any other option other than using CBDCs, and that's why, like, democratic countries that give a voice to their people, that they are facing such opposition, and we haven't seen any, uh, let's say, far-reaching, wide-scale CBDC deployment in any other countries, you know. And actually, while this all is happening, financial institutions, especially private financial institutions, are actually actively exploring possibilities of being able to issue these stable coins. Like, one of their, I think, a major state-owned banks is like JD.com and Group. They're actually reportedly lobbying for opportunities to be able to get a charter to start issuing these new stable coins. So this is something that I am closely following, because, as I said, for the last 12 years, everything related to cryptocurrencies has been banned and actively suppressed in China. And if they make this exception for stablecoins, then this actually completely validates the stablecoin thesis. And even if it's basically like, even if China doesn't like it, if you cannot kill them, you need to join them, and that's what China is doing here, right? That's what brings us next to Hong Kong, as I mentioned earlier. Because Hong Kong has been, although they are theoretically and practically part of China, they do enjoy a lot of financial autonomies, right? And so they have been able to stay on the bleeding edge of financial innovations regarding everything, and they are the region that attracts a huge portion of the Western financial pressure. So they have been working on this stablecoin ordinance for quite a long time, and they have finally passed the stablecoin ordinance, I would say, and they have created this licensing regime for fiat referenced stablecoins. That's what they're calling it, FRS, fiat referenced stablecoins. And I was looking into it. The HKMA, Hong Kong Monetary Authority, actually published some criteria as to who can apply for these licenses and what the requirements are. And in general, you have to have a paid up share of about 25 million Hong Kong dollars, which is approximately about 3.2 million USD. And you have to also ensure that stablecoins are fully backed by high quality and highly liquid reserve assets that are held in trust structures, which is quite close to what the Genius Act demands from you as well. And on top of that, they are also like deeply looking into anti-money laundering laws and KYC laws, and they have they want firms to actually validate KYCs for the users. Like, whoever is opening official financial accounts with these stablecoin issuers will need to be deeply KYC'd. Again, this is actually where, as someone who is crypto native and who comes from the crypto perspective and not the macroeconomical perspective,
Right.
Web2 perspective, this is unsettling for me and for people like us. But at the same time, I have to recognize that if you invite the traditional finance people, they're going to come, and since they're obviously far more powerful than we are, financially speaking, they are going to bring their own laws, rules, and regulations and laws, and they are going to impose them. And for the sake of worldwide global adoption, you have to accept it, and then you have to fight your way through, resist where you can, to keep the essence of what it means to be decentralized alive,
Right.
and accept as much as you can. Yeah, because at the end of the day, this is a validation of your thesis, but you win some, you lose some. That's the theory that we are seeing here. And this is the same trend that we are seeing with Japan as well. Japan very recently explored their interest in issuing yen-pegged / yen-backed stablecoins. And actually, quite interestingly, back in 2023, they passed this bill called the Payment Services Act, which clarifies the regulations that you need to be able to issue yen-backed stablecoins. And since then, the regulatory clarity has gotten much more transparent, to the point that they very recently gave permission to this local fintech firm called JPYC, that they can act as a funds transfer service provider, which basically means that they can issue yen-pegged stablecoins. What you need to be able to issue these sorts of stablecoins is, you are obviously, the stablecoin has to be backed by Japanese government bonds, and you'll have some sort of like a yen reserve. And the JPYC has actually some quite ambitious plans, because they are aiming to issue about 1 trillion yen, which is approximately 7 billion USD worth of stablecoins over the next 3 years. And the primary use cases that they're looking into is cross-border remittances and corporate payments. It's basically leveraging Japan's already existing financial dominance, because yen is actually like the fourth most used currency for international payments. And like for macro traders, yen carry trade is a thing that it's ubiquitous. Like yen carry trade is, to simply explain to someone who doesn't know what this is like you can get a loan on yen for almost 0% interest rate. So if you're a trader in the US, you get a yen loan from a Japanese bank. You bring that money into the US, you trade with it, and then basically you pay it back, keep the profit, right? So since it's zero interest, or almost like very low interest trading, you make a like a negligible amount of profit. But if you have enough capital, that negligible amount actually it becomes quite big. Anyways, coming back. So after Japan, we have got another major economy that is actively exploring possible stablecoin regulations, is South Korea. And South Korea is quite interesting because they have these two fractions in the country. One is siding with the Bank of South Korea, which is a central bank, and they want to be very cautious. They don't want to like do anything rash and create something that they lose control over their own country's economy. And on the other hand, you have got the more liberal faction, the more visionary faction, who see the promise that stablecoins pose, and the threat that also stablecoins pose if you don't like really adopt this new financial innovation, right? So the Financial Services Commission in South Korea is actively drafting a comprehensive regulatory framework, and they actually want to put it through Parliament by October of this year. And they're not alone here. 4 of the largest commercial banks in South Korea, the KB, Kookmin, Shinhan, Hana, and Woori, are actually accelerating preparations for stablecoin issuance as well, to the point that they are reportedly planning to meet with Circle representatives, and they want to look into how they could work with Circle and issue their own USDC. Not only just Circle, like as you can see here in this here, like Tether, Circle to meet with South Korea's top banking CEOs, because they're clearly interested. Right. They're clearly interested in this technology, and this actually, yeah.
And I have a question: that what makes your approach different? Is it more about protecting consumers or about competing with Hong Kong, Japan?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's actually where I want to go with this conversation next. So there is this in classical economics, there is this trilemma called the Mundell-Fleming economic trilemma. Just to give you a short brief of what it means is, like, there are three items, let's say, like 3 entities. One, you have like free capital flow in your economy. The second, you have a stable exchange rate, and the third is an independent monetary policy. And the Mundell and Fleming says that you cannot have 3 of them together. To have those, you have to sacrifice one. And this is a very similar as a simulation of what we have seen in macroeconomics now taking place in this digital currency space. To say you can have a country cannot simultaneously have an open digital economy, an independent monetary policy, and a sovereign digital currency at the same time. So you have to make a choice. For example, for China, the choice is clear. They want to prioritize monetary control, and they want a sovereign digital currency. So they are willing to sacrifice the open digital economy by banning foreign crypto and any other sort of like alternative investment or any other sort of currencies that uses the blockchain. to settle payments, and they already are doing so. It's not like much more, like a lot of sacrifice for them. They have already done it, and they're willing to continue with the same regime that they have. For Japan and Hong Kong, it's they're opting for an open digital economy, and they also want sovereign digital currency, which will necessitate basically them sacrificing their monetary policy to some extent. They will let foreign factors influence their monetary policies. And for South Korea, this is the debate that is going on. Like, which one they're willing to sacrifice. Are they willing to like close down their economy? Highly unlikely. Are they willing to are they willing to have a specific digital currency within their borders, or are they willing to have the other thing? Yeah. So this is very much of a debate, and I'm very interested in seeing how this pans out. But for now, that's pretty much everything that I can comment on it. All right, now we have got Wyoming's Frontier stablecoin. And this is an interesting piece for me. So what happened is the Wyoming State Bank are actually going to be launching this Frontier stablecoin. I guess it's already launched, and this is the first ever state issued stablecoin in the United States. And this is as I said, this is super fun for me, because this is the first state issued stablecoin, and this is certainly not going to be the last. And I'm quite interested in seeing like how this competes or complements what privately issued complements privately issued stablecoins, right? Like USDC and Tether. Are they going to like go head to head? Are they going to be working together in some ways? But at the end of the day, what we are looking at here is a fully backed by reserves of US dollars and short duration US Treasury bills, obviously. And what's slightly different from the Genius Act here is that you need to over collateralize your reserve by 2%. That means basically 102% over collateralization here. And this isn't something that they are taking lightly. They have already partnered up with heavyweights in the finance space. Like they have got Franklin Advisors, which is responsible for managing their reserve assets. They have got Fireblocks, a digital asset custody provider, and then you have got their partners in Solana and Kraken that are helping them basically get this product to market on the crypto side of things. And actually, whatever I was looking into it, and whatever profits that they're going to make from this program is going to be directed towards some foundations or something, like for students, or there is a fund for students that they're going to like donate or allocate all of their profits. And this isn't, I won't necessarily put it into something like significant, but at the same time, like if one state does it, what does it mean for other states? This could definitely become an example that other states will start following, right? So definitely this is something I will be looking closely and seeing like how everything pans out here. Not much to talk about it there. Yeah, so that's pretty much everything that I wanted to discuss on the countries taking stablecoins seriously side. And now I want to slightly pivot to another topic, which is how private companies are actually are adopting. Not only private companies have always been like very reciprocative to stablecoins. We have discussed Stripe, we have discussed MoneyGram, and other companies, and how they are adopting stablecoins. And now I want to take a look at tokenization and what companies are doing on the tokenization side. Now let's take a look at SkyBridge, Anthony Scaramucci's SkyBridge Capital, and their announcement to tokenize $300 million worth of asset that they're holding in their two flagship hedge funds. One is Digital Macro Master Fund, and the other one is Legion Strategies. And a couple of things that I'm really impressed by is they have got the right partners in place, and they have really figured out the tech. So the technology layer that they're going to be using is going to be tokenized, and they are going to be using ERC 3643 token standard. The what's different about this token standard is it's sort of compliant. It's a permissioned token standard that lets you add compliance structures in place. You can you can have built-in compliance controls that allows issuers to enforce rules such as let's say ensuring that only accredited investors can hold tokens directly on a public blockchain. So that's actually something that I'm interested in seeing in action, and if this will be something that will be adopted by other fund managers as well. And the administrative layer, they have got Apex Group, which is the parent company of Tokeny, and Apex Group has got quite a big reputation. They have been servicing over $3.5 trillion in assets, and so obviously quite a reputation and credibility. So the structure of the SkyBridge deal basically reveals that the market is maturing, and a single firm is no longer trying to do it all. But we are seeing like the emergence of specialized integrated uh, tokenization as a service, I will say. It's a tokenization as a service, a service stack, where we are seeing like the combination of Tokeny, which is the technology side, and Apex, which is the administration side. And obviously they're using the Avalanche, the blockchain, as the settlement layer, right? So it's a comprehensive one-stop shop for any solution that an asset manager is going to require. And actually, this isn't the only thing that I'm looking into. That I'm looking in terms of developments in the market. We also saw the announcement from a Maverick Fireblock partnership, that they are going to be. Actually, it was Maverick Fireblocks and I think Multibank. They are collaborating to become essentially the dominant operating system in the tokenized asset economy. So this is something, again, this is something I'm keeping my eyes on. Nothing I can say right now, otherwise, like, just what my feelings are.
Why do these companies like put these announcements out if they don't have like, real products to yet?
I mean, the short answer will be like, it's marketing, right? Like, you don't want to miss a news cycle. You want to stay relevant throughout all news cycles, and you want to be covered most of the time positively, and sometimes negative publicity doesn't hurt. But I will say this is actually quite well thought out. This SkyBridge Capital partnership announcement, because they have got the right partners in place. They have got the capital in place. So this isn't like a meaningless memorandum of understanding. For example, like, if you want some let's say more noise than signal news, I can give you, like, for example, there are some Chinese companies that are looking into tokenization as well. Like, for example, Fosun International, I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. They're looking into tokenizing about $110 billion worth of USD in next however many years. And the fund's chairman actually did announce that they're seriously considering RWA platforms and tokenization. Again, can be something, but there isn't anything impactful as of now. And then we are also seeing like the Chinese Merchant Bank International, I think that's the name, and they're one of the biggest investment arm of one of China's largest banks, right? And so, but they have announced their partnership with Singapore's DigiFT is here, and what they are doing is it's a multi-chain approach where they are deploying funds across 4 different blockchains. So they've got Solana, Ethereum, Arbitrum, and Plume. But again, like, it lacks the certain amount of details that you want to go through to understand what actually they want, and if they're for real, if they're high signal, or they're probably just noise, and nothing will materialize in the foreseeable future. So yeah, that is pretty much what I'm looking at. And so to summarize, I will say, to this conversation, there are 2 things I will be primarily keeping my eyes on. One is this new currency. I mean, you can say Cold War. This new currency Cold War, where even like for private companies, private organizations that are issuing stablecoins, they want their own currencies. They want to own the entire stack end to end, and they don't want to share the ownership or share the dominance of their personal network. And at the same time, we're looking at countries that are waking up to the reality of stablecoin, and they want their own native currency backed stablecoins. So this next couple of years is going to be super interesting. We'll be seeing like incumbents losing their positions in the financial world, and we'll also be seeing like new powers dominating through stablecoins and tokenizations. And the other thing that is going to come out of this is actually this unlocking of dead liquidity, like this trillions of dollars that are unlocked in illiquid assets like private equity and commercial real estate. Once this is tokenized, this is going to come and flood the market, and everyone is going to be able to access these markets through tokenization, obviously, and fractionalizations, and hopefully easing of regulations. Because I don't know, as we have discussed countless times in our previous episodes, like how difficult it is to access certain markets in certain countries. If you are even if you are a resident of that country, the amount of regulations, the amount of like the rules to become an accredited investor is quite crazy, right? Like an average person cannot invest in venture capital. I mean, obviously, most average person aren't qualified to invest, but I guess the option should be there. Especially if you can invest in meme coins, then why shouldn't you be able to invest in venture capital? You know, the logic is much more sound in VC, right? The same goes for, and it gets even more difficult when you are a foreign
Actually, I
resident.
would like to go against it. I don't think that makes sense, the logic. If someone is able to invest in meme coins, they should be able to invest in like startup companies.
I mean, look, I'm not saying that you should do either without the proper education, right? But the thing is, meme coins are already accessible, and there is no way you can stop them from investing, right? Then, if I can invest in meme coin, I choose not to. Then why should not I be able to invest in a venture capital fund, or let's say a company that I really believe in, that has not hit the public markets yet? And for that, I'm willing to prove that I am educated enough that I know what I'm doing with my own money. And for that, you need to basically lower the barriers of this accreditation test. Or you need to lower the capital requirements. And again, like this is just happening. Like if you are a native citizen of your country, what if you want to access markets in other countries, right? Let's say we are based in India. What if we want to invest in private equity firms in the US? It's nearly impossible. If not for regulatory reasons, it's simply because of the capital requirement is going to be simply huge. But with tokenization and with fractionalization, these markets are going to be much, much more accessible in real time, and the settlements are going to be instant. So again, like obviously we are doing this podcast because we are super bullish on this technology. And with everything that is happening, I can quite comfortably say that the financial space will be unrecognizable in the next 2 years with the amount of innovation that we're going to be seeing from stablecoins and tokenization, and in general integration with the blockchain technology.